Hey Stampers, happy Wednesday. I feel like I should be wearing red and green because we are all about Christmas cards today. So it's Wednesday. This is Makeup Mornings with Meg. I'm Meg. Thank you for being here with us. And today's project is actually the first of 4 that I'm going to show you, featuring the amazing hybrid bundle, Merriest Moments from the holiday book. And the cool thing about this is a really unique stamp set. It has stamps and an embossing folder and a set of cutting dies, which these are just a few of them because I have the rest out. And they all go together to give you lots of great mix and match combinations. So, and if in case you couldn't see, here is the packaging for this, so you can kind of see how this folder goes together. So I'm going to show you a trick today to use the hybrid embossing folder and make the most of your Stampin Blends. And I think you guys are going to be really excited about these. This is a really neat set of tools because the embossing folder actually works with the dies. So you can die cut and emboss and have these amazing, beautiful frames. So I'm going to feature that this month. You'll see a bunch of those for me. But today's card is a little bit on the simpler side. It's a way to use these supplies to just make a really nice, elegant card and then highlight the embossing folder with your Stampin Blends, which is kind of unusual. We don't do that very often, so I'll show you how that works. All right, so actually we're gonna come back here in a second to use the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine because I'm gonna give you some tips for using the hybrid emboss or the 3D embossing folders. There's something that I get questions asked about all the time, like, Meg, wait, how am I supposed to use these? So we're gonna use both dies and the 3D embossing folder today, so you'll get a good view of how those combinations go through Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So with that in mind, actually, I'm going to flip you down for 2 seconds and do a little stamping. So here are the supplies for our card. But before we get to the cutting and embossing part, I need the pieces. So we're gonna use the berries here as an accent. And then I have a piece of paper that is cut to 4 1/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And this one's already embossed in case you can see, but I'm gonna show you how this works with our embossing folder. We're gonna put it in here, and the thing that I like about pre-cutting this size is that you know that you're gonna get it nice and square and nice and straight, okay? Because you can look at the paper inside the folder and make sure that that is all lined up. And if you are a person who loves to have downloadable PDF tutorials, this card is one of the 4 that will be featured for my November LovenStamps Perks Points tutorials. So you can learn about those in the video description. So, all right, you guys ready to see how this goes? I didn't say my good mornings. Hey, Brenda and Sally and Becky and Tanya and Deborah and Trish and Sue, and it's good to see you guys. All right, so we're back up because I want to show you how this sandwich works here. I'll stand on this side. Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is a really great tool, and I want to show you first how we're going to do our die cutting on this little piece. So I have the coordinating die here from this set. And the first thing I do is, I know you can't see, I just grab a piece of washi tape and washi tape the die onto the paper like this so that I know it's gonna stay where we want it when we're cutting. Now, cutting sandwich for this, if you're already a die cutting expert, you don't need to know this, but the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine comes with the main plate, which is this one here. Number 2, which is the thin die adapter, and then you're going to use 2 of the number 3 plates. This is what they look like when you've been using them over and over again. And you're going to put the first one down, add your cardstock and your stamp image, and then you're going to put the second of those cutting plates over the top, and you just crank it through, and you get out your, here we go, see if I can do this in the middle of the air, your die cut image, okay? So that is how those work. Now, the sandwich, we call it a sandwich because it's like layers of a sandwich. The sandwich for using with the 3D embossing folders is a little bit different. And for this one, instead, you are going to use plate number 1, has a big number 1 in the corner, that's the big block. And then you're gonna use the 3D embossing folder and cardstock and put it on there. And then you're gonna use, okay, I'm gonna show you this one. The one that's currently available is gray and solid. So this is an older version of it. But you're gonna use the 3D embossing, the specialty plate, okay? So if you're looking in the book, here we go. It's number 7 there, down at the bottom on page 153. And it is the specialty plate, and it says right on there, used for 3D embossing folders, okay? So you're gonna take that and you're gonna put it on top. So I've eliminated that extra thin die adapter. I'm not using either of my regular cutting plates. And just gonna kind of put this in here and run this through, which I already did, so I'm not gonna do it again. And that is going to give us our embossed image. So here is that embossing, see? So the difference between a regular embossing folder and a 3D embossing folder is that the 3D embossing folder goes both up and down. So when you're looking at the folder, it has places where the paper is going to be pushed down into the die and places where it's going to be pushed up into the die. And so that is going to sort of be that extra thickness. All right. So ready, we are going to go ahead and work on our coloring here. All right, so the biggest message take home on the embossing folder is that you want to not have to force your folder through. So if you are like, wait, I don't remember, is this what Meg said to use or not? Go ahead and give it like a little start, a try. And if you feel like the pressure is really, really hard, then just stop and back up and try a different plate combination, because it shouldn't be super hard to crank through. It should be relatively easy to crank through on the right kind of sandwich settings, okay? All right, so let's continue our card here. And I will give you some more, whoa, I think our camera is like syncing. All right, let's see. Sorry guys. I think I'm gonna have to like do a major camera readjust here shortly. All right, so getting this going here. Oh, Sue has a great suggestion. She said she marks her plates with a number of folders to use. That's a really good idea. And then you don't have to keep guessing every time after that. All right, let's see, I need to take off my washi tape there. So back to our embossed paper. So we have this, and we are going to mount this on a basic white card. Okay, and we're gonna kind of put this off the edge like so. All right, see how that works? And I've cut the front of my card. It's just a regular card front, except I've cut about 1/4 inch off on the edge there. And to make that edge really pop, we're gonna use a strip of metallic cardstock like that, okay? So we have kind of the base of our card started. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, which I love for attaching narrow and strippy things. And I'm going to pop this on here. If you haven't tried this glue before, I highly recommend it. Some people find that it gets their fingers gluey. I agree, it can. One strategy for that is to just make sure you leave a handle. So like if I was gluing this strip, I would put glue from here to here and no glue at the end. That way I have a handle to be able to turn that over and get it on my project, okay? All right, so we're gonna do that. But let's come back to our piece here. I'm going to use 3 colors of Stampin Blends, and there are so many different ways to use Stampin Blends with these great colors. And so today's project is maybe a little different than we've used them before. So I'm going to actually color directly on my paper, on our embossed paper. And there are a couple things that you're going to want to know about this. So one is that because the paper is, and you can see it really well here on the berries, because the paper is embossed, what's basically happening there is the fibers are being broken and split open a little bit. And so what you want to watch out for is a little bit more spread in your color than you have maybe noticed before. And this is especially true if you are if you have new Stampin' Blends with a lot of pigment in them, a lot of liquid. If you've had them for a little while, sometimes the spread is a little less because not quite as much of that ink wicks out onto the paper, but you'll know right away the first time you touch your Stampin' Blend to the paper which one it's going to be. It'll either be a super wicking or not. But because the cardstock fibers, I'm going to switch to my brush tip here. Because the cardstock fibers are crushed a little bit, they tend to grab a little bit more ink than they would just on plain. So if you're used to coloring Stampin' Blends on, like a stamped image, you'll find it to be just a little bit different. All right, and I'm gonna go across these. So I'm gonna color the leaves. I find, I don't know about you guys, but whether it's a stamped image or something like this, I find that I really get to know an image when I do the coloring on it. And let's see, this poor old olive Stampin' Blend is nearly at the end of its life. So it's not putting quite as much ink on, but that's actually okay. It's kind of easier to control for something like this. So when you have a Stampin' Blend that you are about ready to replace, consider hanging on to it because you might find it a little bit easier for something like this. Okay, all right, so now we've got our olive colored. I think, let's see. I'm gonna come back now with my Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to go ahead and color some pieces here. So I've got my light blend, and again, you can see as I'm adding the color that it's just wicking some of that ink around. And the nice thing about this is that you can have that pretty white snowflakey background and still highlight some of the embossing folders. Here's where it really wicks around. So it also helps have a nice light where you're working. So I know, how do you guys light your working spaces? Does anybody use special lighting? I think before I had my new studio space here, I used to use an OT light sometimes, which is a great way to get a lot of nice true color light. But I also really like these halogen lamps that are kind of like a halogen lamp spotlight from IKEA. They're super inexpensive and they have like a gooseneck that you can twist and point at your stamping area. So I know you guys probably have great strategies for lighting, but it can definitely make a difference, especially when you're working on something like this where you have a lot of detail. Now, another thing I want to avoid doing is I want to avoid going down into the frame of the piece here. So I'm going to switch to my darker. So I'm going to draw a line kind of across the bottom, but a little away because you can see that ink wick around there. So we're going to get our holly here. And I'm gonna stop, like I said, away from the edge of the white frame. And the great thing about these Stampin' Blends too is that you can go back and you can add more color if you want to really add like the depth and the shadowing and so forth. Or you can go ahead and sort of leave them as is and go ahead and add your next part. So we're gonna leave the center of this frame open because we're gonna go ahead and stamp in there. And the greetings from the Merriest Moments stamp set are fantastic. Lots of good possibilities for them. And it's always nice to have a great stamp set where not only do you have the inside, here, I'll pull this in. Not only do you have the outside greetings, you know, season's greetings, Merry Christmas, whatever is gonna go on the front, joy. But then you have sort of the verse part that's gonna go on the inside. And so this stamp set has both of those elements, which is a great Christmas set. Okay, so you can kind of see how we have highlighted those embossing folder elements. And now we're gonna take our greeting, which is this, let's see, for this one I picked the Thinking of You This Festive Season. And I'm gonna bring in Evening Evergreen. So another great Stampin' Up feature is the way the colors match. So I have my marker, which is going to match my stamped ink perfectly, so same colors there, which gets us all ready then to add this to our card. Now, I know that this is not going to be a surprise to you, but we are going to add a layer to this to really set the pieces off. So what I've done is added an Old Olive layer. So the Old Olive is just cut 1/8 inch bigger than our 4 1/4 by 3 3/4 embossed element. and that is going to really pop our card up off the page, okay? We still have some embellishments coming, so hang on. I'm gonna grab, I really like to use my Seal Plus when I have an embossed image because there's so much variation to the cardstock, so much bumping on there that I wanna make sure I get a really good grab of the parts that are not popped up so that they'll stay on there. And I want to highlight the way our card opens with this sort of fun edge fold. So instead of putting my element back here and lining it up, I'm actually going to have it pop over the front here just that little bit. And that little bit is enough to just sort of make that, just highlight that special edge. So I'm going to remember not to put my dimensionals all the way to the edge because that would be bad. We'll seal our card shut. But I'm going to go ahead and pop this on a little bit down here. There we go. Okay, so now we have our sort of base card, and then let's go ahead and add a little stamping on the inside. So I'm going to grab this floral, which is also part of the Merriest Moments stamp set, and I'm just going to add one. Oh, that was so close. Nope. I'm just add one piece down here. And then I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen to add the 3 dots in the center so that we have sort of one extra element there. And then I am going to do our embellishments for the front. So let's get some ink out of the way. And we have our holly berries, which I've put here. Now on my sample card, the one I've done beforehand, I'm going to put the holly leaves someplace else. But because I got that little tiny smudge here, my holly leaves are now going to cover up. Can you guys see it? So sad, right? That little smudge there, but no worries, we can cover that. So these are the gold holly leaves. They come in 2 sizes. They are sort of this larger size and this smaller size, and they are super iridescent, super pretty, and they really come out and make the piece of metallic brushed cardstock, there we go, see, no more, make that metallic cardstock shine too, so that that gold element is repeated. But I don't really want them to be quite that gold. I want them to match our card a little bit more. So let's bring them over here and come back with our Evening Evergreen Stampin Blends. And I'm going to just go ahead and color directly on our leaf. And so you can kind of see how that color is changing. So now we have a gold metallic, a green metallic effect on our gold metallic leaves. So it's still got that same gold undercoat, but here, I'll show them to you really up close. And the alcohol marker ink dries really quickly. So there's sort of the difference between those there. So really, you could do this with lots of different kinds of embellishments. I know we've colored pearls and things like that before. Here we go, covering up our sad inky spot. But you could color these gold holly leaves too. So I'm going to feature these this month for our Merriest Moments projects. Okay, I'm gonna pop this on over here. Green, the multi-purpose liquid glue with a green lid. This takes a little time to grab, so we're not going to mess around with it too much right away. Let's see, or you can go ahead and put a block on top of your elements to just make sure that those are staying put. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a mini dimensional here on the back of our, there we go, on the back of our little holly berries. Okay. And let's see, Becky says, use the blender lifter on the smudge. Yes, actually there is a color lifter. It's a white, thanks Becky. It's got a white lid, and it's just the clear alcohol mixture basically that is carries the ink in the Stampin Blends Markers. And so it's a great choice when you're trying to like lighten an area or remove ink from an area. So yeah, the color lifter could be good there. Always a good thing to remember. Thanks, Becky. If you didn't have conveniently placed holly leaves, then you could make sure you grab your color lifter. But there we have our pretty holly accent there, which is going to cover up our leaves. So no fair telling, you know, sharing like, oh my gosh, that's, nobody needs to know about our little blip under there. All right, and then last, I'm gonna go ahead and add some decoration to our envelope here to match our card. So I'm gonna add one of the large poinsettias and one of the small poinsettias. And then both of them are going to get that little dot in the center with the evening evergreen to really repeat that color. Remember, you wanna repeat colors when you're making a project so that everything kind of looks connected, okay? Nothing is like standalone on its own. All right, so there we have our first of the absolutely fabulous Merriest Moments projects. And Trish says this one's beautiful. Okay, I like this one too, thank you, Trish. But I have to tell you that the next card that I'm gonna show you with Merriest Moments is like over the top, wow, even more amazing. So just stay tuned this month for some more fabulous Merriest Moments projects, and I will look forward to sharing them with you. But if you're interested in getting the PDF tutorial for this set of projects, you can get that by placing an order any size in my online store during the month of November. And those tutorials are available as like my thank you perk. So you get those as a downloadable PDF. And if your order is at least $50, then you actually get projects in the mail, project kits for 2. And this is one of the 2 projects that you will get for orders during the month of November. So you'll get this and the folder will be pre-embossed, and all you have to do is add your Stampin' Blends and so forth. So you can color your own holly leaves. They're included in there too. But I kind of like that. It's fun to get a card package in the mail and have everything ready to go and cut for you to make your project. So usually you would want to make sure you have the other supplies. So the link is in the video description here so you can see what they are if you want to make the cards exactly as I have shown them. You would want to have ink and the Stampin' Blends and the stamp set. And so those are available to order there. So let's see. Also, oh my gosh, I wanted to make sure I tell you about this special that starts tomorrow. So Stampin' Up! Has, of course, fabulous opportunities to be involved as a demonstrator. And demonstrator actually is a term that means a lot of different things, all the way from I purchased my own supplies, my own Christmas card supplies at a discount. Like you could just order supplies for your Christmas cards and get them at a discount and then never place an order with Stampin' Up! Again. But fair warning, you're going to want to, because there's so many perks to being a demonstrator, including your own discount, early access to things, early earn and celebration that's coming in December, like all kinds of fun things. And then access to like our community, our demonstrator community, and being part of Facebook groups and live events and invitations to things and virtual events and all good time. A huge vacation stamping school every year, which gets rave reviews. All the kinds of things that you have access to as a demonstrator. So the reason I'm saying it now is that from November 4th till November 30th, you can get the demonstrator starter kit at a discount, which doesn't happen very often. Like it just really, sometimes they'll add stuff to it. Sometimes there'll be bonuses or things that happen after, but a discount on the starter kit is unusual. So it is only $75 instead of $99, and you get to pick out $125 worth of product of your choice. So it's like you pay $75 and get a $50 shopping spree. There is information on my website at LovenStamps.com. You can look for the Join My Team information, and there are all kinds of perks of being part of my LovenStamps demonstrator team. I've been doing this demonstrator gig for almost 20 years now, so I have a lot of experience to offer, and we have a great community that we kind of keep in touch and inspire and so forth with each other. And I do a lot of mentoring for my team for people who are interested in building businesses or doing more, doing charitable work with their demonstratorship, all kinds of things. Mostly my goal for you is that you make your time as a demonstrator count. So I'm happy to help you with that. All right, if you have any questions, that special actually starts tomorrow, right? Yep, tomorrow the 4th. So get your wish list ready, have $125 picked out, and then tomorrow you can go to my website and click that little join now button and get your starter kit ordered. So if you have any questions, I've heard them all, honestly. I'm pretty sure that there's no question that would surprise me at this point. There's no bad question either. Send me a message, drop me an email, whatever. Send me a, Pony Express message, whatever. I'm happy to answer questions for you. So it's a really great opportunity. All right, guys, Merriest moments, more projects coming soon. I really had fun with today's and the Stampin' Blends. So hope you have a terrific day, and I will see you again on, today's Wednesday, on Friday with another project. So happy stamping. Have a great one, guys.